headline is the biggest, boldest thing that people are going to see. The headline is the first thing that people are going to see. The headline is what's going to make people want to click. One of the most valuable pieces of text real estate that you need to get somebody to consume more of what you have. But if you don't take that seriously, then you're cutting off a percentage of the people that could convert. It's really important to understand that we have to take that seriously, because if you don't, the impact that you thought you was going to make in the world is not going to happen. Reason why we focus on this today is because everything we do, it requires a headline before people actually get to the juice or the main content. Even videos, right? Look at the video you're watching right now. What did you probably see before you even started listening to the video? You probably read the headline, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So how do you create high converting headlines from that standpoint? Because that is what's going to make people interested. So how do you think about that though? Or are you just doing anything? Or you're not even including headlines for real? What are you doing? First thing you need to be focused on is one, is make your headline specific. And what that really means is that you want to be able to immediately state what the benefit is. So many people, they'll create headlines that's so obscure or so general that people don't really even know what they're getting. So instead of saying the key to happiness, if that was whatever content you was providing, if that's what it was about, I would say something like how to surround yourself with only positive people so you're more happy in life. You feel what I'm saying? You see how clear that is? You see how specific that is? That'll make somebody more interested, because that'll make them say, hold on, wait, you know what? I've been thinking about surrounding myself with more positive people and people who encourage me and people who support me. And wow, it's just I'm gonna tell you, when you do this is when you start getting people that say, yo, I was just thinking about that. Like, yo, I feel like you made that for me. Like, God put you in the right place at the right time for me to see this. That's when you start hearing things like that. It's because you're specific. So it happens to be that the content that I post happens to be right on point for somebody, and they feel like it's specifically for them. You want to know the secret behind that? My secret recipe is that I'm very specific in when I'm giving and when I'm talking about things. We living in a day and age right now where specificity is winning. The details is winning. The second thing is you want to evoke curiosity, right? So you want somebody to be able to read it, and sometimes you have different headlines for different purposes, so you kind of understand that. But you can also make headlines that are curiosity driven. So meaning the answer is not directly in the headline. Like I can have a headline that says, advertising is the reason you're not making money. Or I can create a headline that says the number one reason you're not making money right now. You feel what I'm saying? Do you see how the second headline is more curiosity driven? You want to be in a place where some of your headlines are curiosity driven, so people, it makes people want to click on it. That's where you want to be. All right. So homework for you is to focus on how can you make more of the headlines that you create more curiosity driven. How is it? And if you don't know, just write out some headlines and ask yourself what people want to learn more. The secret to how to 3 ways to number 3, you want to look at we call it power words. I have a whole list of power words. And power words are just basically strong, emotionally driven words that make your copy more powerful, that make your headline more powerful. So it can be certain things like words and/or use phrases could work too. So things like transform, like danger. It's just certain words that is more emotionally driven than other words. And you can probably look this up. If you looked up power words for copywriting, if you type that in Google, there'll be a bunch of websites that'll pop up, but you could choose any of them, and then they'll tell you there's certain words that you can use that trigger emotional response. Like what are some words, but you want to use and drip in some of these psychological elements in terms of these power words that's gonna bring your copy more to life, which is what you want. You want to bring your headlines to life. You want people to see something and see some of these words and say, oh wow, like this is, these are, this is something that I want to see. This is something I want to be a part of. This is something I want to learn more about. So look up these power words. 4. Oh, I love this one. Number 4 is I want you to create a a sense of urgency. There's headlines that you can create urgency for, right? Especially you have things, so you can say last minute, you can say last chance, you can say almost gone. And it's just you're creating a sense of urgency for somebody to take action. Is you wanna help people make a decision. You want to get people to move to action. So in order to do that, you want to create a sense of urgency, but you want to include some of these elements and some of these words and some of these phrases that make people take action. Does that make sense? So my question to you would be, how could you create a sense of urgency around one of your products or your services or something that you're giving away? 5 is keep it concise. Keep it concise. And that's where you're basically being brief. You don't have to have these long drawn out sentences when you're doing headlines. Especially if it's like subject lines for an email, they even give you a certain amount of characters. If it's like a headline for Facebook, they only give you a certain amount of characters you can use, especially if you run a Google ads or YouTube ads. You can't just you can't have run on sentences. You know what I'm saying? You want to be concise and you want to be brief. 5 ways to boost your productivity 50%. 3 ways to do this. The number one hack I'm using to get our clients a 1,000% ROI. Let me give you some resources. So just 2 things. Number 1, if you're having some challenges right now with figuring this out and you want our agency to run your ads for you, then that is an option for you. So what you can do is you can go ahead and put Facebook ads below or shoot me a DM that says Facebook ads and we can have that conversation, all right, about what you need in order to run advertisements. Another thing you can do is at the time you're doing this training right now, we're just about to release our advertising course. It's called the Playbook to Paid Ads. This course is literally I can easily charge $1,000 for this course, but at the time we're doing this right now, if you get on the waiting list, you will be able to get the course for free. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is share this out. Like if you know anybody who's having trouble with building their business and getting more people to pay attention and getting more people to care about what they're doing, especially if they're on a marketing and advertising side of it, share this with them. Because my goal and why we're doing these free trainings every day is to get this out to more people. So if you like what you're seeing, you like the training, and you like this content, and you're taking away things you didn't know or things that you didn't learn, don't be selfish and keep it all to yourself. Don't hoard all of the content that I'm giving you. Share it with other people. Tag other people in it so they can see it. Other entrepreneurs in it so they can see it, so we can continue to grow and give and build. Focus on everything that you put out. Let me back up. Masters. Let's talk about mastery for a second. When you want to get great results in anything, the goal is to master every aspect of it. Right? I have a book from Kobe. I think it's called The Mamba Mentality. Go to Amazon and get that book. The Mamba Mentality. When you really, and it's Kobe basically walking you through his strategy of how he became a Hall of Fame basketball player, one of the best basketball players in the world in history. How did he do that? You know, he broke down everything that he thinks about on how he approaches the game, everything. And one of the things I was most impressed about when I saw this was he literally thinks about and strategizes and practices and prepares for everything. From obviously the type of shots that he makes to every shot on the court to creating his own shot. He's even masterful. I was reading one of the pages. He was talking about like how he even knows if a ref is on a certain part of the floor and he's on a certain part of the court, how there's a blind spot to certain things that he can do that the ref can't see. I said, oh my God. I said, yo, this man locked in. You know how locked in you gotta be, you know how focused you gotta be, you know how much of a student of the game you gotta be to really be paying attention to that level of detail. Most people trying to figure out how to make a basket or how to steal or block the ball. Your man he's way past that. He's already like, yo, okay, the ref is right there. Okay, let me get to this side of the floor. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But I see why he's one of the best to ever do it, because he masters the nuances. You want to become a master of the nuances. You want to become a master of the details. Anybody who's great at what they do masters the details. What I'm saying is, in our space, if you're going to be selling in your products and services online, You got to realize that one of the parts of our space that you really got to master is this headline piece, because this is literally one of the first things that people see. So a lot of times people are, they'll say, well, I'm not getting enough exposure, but sometimes it's not really even that you're not getting enough exposure. And trust me, I'm an exposure guy. Like I'm the guy you come to when you want to get more eyes on what you do, right? Especially from a paid advertising perspective. We've got millions of people to look at our stuff. But sometimes it's about making the stuff that you have more attractive so people pay more attention to it for the people who do see it. You know what I'm saying? I want the people who do see it to actually engage with it, to actually click on it, to actually follow through with it. But if you're not trying to get better at this skill, then you're not being a master of the nuances. You're not being a master of the detail like Kobe. All right.